Hi everybody, it's me, Sally, back here on the Cupcake Jemma channel to show you a delicious treat for the summer. Hopefully it's still summer when this video goes out. Right now it is super duper hot here in London, and hopefully it is where you are as well. So today we're going to be making a meringue cake, which is essentially 3 pavlovas, one on top of the next. So it's quite simple, but it looks really fancy, and it's going to be so delicious at your dinner parties or your garden parties, or even if you just want to make it and eat it yourself. Like, I don't know who doesn't love a pavlova. It's meringue, it's cream, it's fruit. There's normally some kind of like curd or puree or sauce in there as well. It's just delicious. So it's going to be really nice and simple, but the first thing we need to do is get on with making our meringue. So it's a classic French meringue, and as usual we need to make sure that everything is clean. So with any kind of meringue, you don't want any fat involved at all, because it will stop the egg whites from whipping up. So it's really simple to clean. I mean, obviously you can wash everything up, but we're just going to use a little bit of acid. So I like to just use some cider vinegar, but you could use lemon juice as well. And all I'm going to do is just wipe out everything that's going to be in contact with our meringue. So I've got my mixing bowl here, so just giving that a little wipe, and then also we've got the whisk attachment, and again just cleaning every single little bit of this. It smells like vinegary, but don't worry, it's not going to taste vinegary unless you get fish and chips. It makes me want fish and chips. And then of course we're going to use a spatula, so just give that a little wipe as well. And then lastly, I'm going to be using a piping nozzle, because we're going to pipe it. It's going to look really cute. So I'm going to be using this star nozzle here, and again I'm going to give that a little wipe inside and out just to make sure that there's no grease on it. Now we're ready. So the first thing we're going to do is start whipping up our egg whites. So in this bowl I've got 200 grams of egg whites. You can use fresh egg whites that you've cracked from fresh eggs, or you can also just use egg whites in a carton, like this stuff here. And this isn't anything like weird or gross, this is just egg whites, like free-range delicious egg whites, which is great because then you don't have to waste any egg yolks. You can keep it in the fridge, you can freeze this. Really, really useful to use. So 200 grams are going straight into this bowl of my mixer. Now, we always want to make sure you use room temperature eggs for when you're making meringues. So either that's the egg whites in the carton or real eggs, because they're just going to whip up a lot easier and a lot more stable. More stable? Is that a term? I don't know. So that's going on, and then I'm going to pop in my whisk attachment. We're going to start by mixing this on a low speed until some big bubbles start to form. When you see those large bubbles, then we can start to increase the speed. Now we're just going to keep mixing this on a medium to high speed until we get to soft peaks. So it doesn't take all that long to get to soft peaks, particularly if you've got room temperature eggs. If you've got cold eggs, it will take a bit longer. But this is what we mean. Like, it's really frothy, but it's still quite wobbly and soft, okay? So that's what we're looking for. And now what we're going to do is we're going to start adding some sugar. So I've got 400 grams of caster sugar. Try to use caster sugar rather than granulated sugar, because we eventually want this sugar to dissolve before we are ready to bake our meringues, and granulated is just going to take a lot longer to get there. So caster is best in general for baking. So we're going to keep the mixer going on that medium-high speed, and we're going to start adding sugar 1 spoonful at a time. So just pouring it in, letting that mix through, and then adding the next. You don't need to wait too long between each addition of sugar. It's just that we don't want to tip all of this in at once, and then we risk collapsing all that beautiful air. Now, once all of that sugar is in, we are just going to leave the meringue, which is why having a stand mixer is great, because you don't need to stand there and hold a hand whisk. And we're going to keep it going until it's stiff, so it's holding a nice stiff peak. It's really, really glossy, but the most important thing is that it's smooth, so you can't feel any granules of sugar, which we will do with our finger and thumb. I'm just going to leave it doing its thing, because it is going to take a little while. And in the meantime, we're going to prepare our tins. So this is going to be like a layer cake, kind of, made of meringue. So I want to try and make sure that it is all looking really lovely and neat. So I'm going to draw some stencils for me to work around. Now I've just got 3 large Cookie cutters? That's a big cookie. Cake cutters, I don't know what you call them, but you can actually get these from the Cupcake Jemma website, along with all the rest of our amazing merch and tools and whatnot, so go over there and check it out. And I've just chosen 3 sizes, so it's gonna go 1, 2, 3, like this, so it's kind of a little bit like a tiered cake, basically. Now I'm gonna draw around these as stencils, so I've got some baking paper on my baking trays and a pen, or a pencil. Don't worry, I'm going to turn the paper upside down. And I'm just going to draw around each of these circles. And obviously I don't want to get pen on my meringue, so I'm just going to flip these upside down. So now I've got some stencils to work with. And in the meantime, we just need to let our meringue get stiff, glossy, and nice and smooth. So we'll have a dance party, dance break. She's a professional. So let's take a look at this. Perfection, look at that. A little bit of a wobble there, but it's holding its shape, which is perfect. So before we start shaping this meringue, we're just gonna add a little bit of vanilla. So good quality vanilla extract. Cupcake Jemma. I'm just going to put a teaspoon in, so just 1 level teaspoon. I'm just going to whisk that through just for a few seconds. That'll do it. And now we are ready to shape and make these look gorgeous. So let's turn that off, bash this out, sorry. Oh, gotta save it. However, what I'm going to do with this little bit here is I'm going to stick my paper down first, because this is just going to flap around in the oven. So I'm just going to literally take this and go dab, 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 dab in each corner. Okay, so that's just going to stick that paper down. So now we are ready. What we're going to do first is spread some of this out. Don't worry, it's going to look a bit messy, but like most things, it looks messy before it looks neat. So I'm going to dollop a big blob of meringue on top of this circle, and I'm going to use my offset palette knife to start spreading it out. I'm going to turn the baking tray around as well, a little bit like it was on a turntable, and you just want to get it as close to the edge of the circle as possible, but don't worry if it doesn't look perfect. So now we've got 3 kind of flat discs of meringue. Doesn't look great, I know. We're gonna make it look fancy now. However, if you just want to leave it like this, you do you. You don't need to pipe anything. It's still gonna be amazing and look really cool once it's all layered up. But for me, I'm gonna do some piping. So I've put my nozzle, so I've just got an open star nozzle here. Just popped that into a piping bag, and I'm gonna load it up with the rest of my meringue. And now what we're gonna do is just pipe around the edge. You can do like whatever design you wanna do, but I'm gonna show you how to do, it's like a figure of 8, which looks easy. It looks harder than it is, actually quite simple. My top tip is to just keep on piping and don't stop, because I get confused if I stop. So what I'm going to do is take my piping bag and I'm going to place it right against the side of this circle, and I'm just going to start squeezing. Like I want a nice consistent squeeze, and I'm just going to go over and then under, looping over and under, turning the baking tray as I go. Go. So now if you've got a little bit left, you could always do a few little shapes and that you can put on your finished meringue cake as well, so that we don't waste anything. But now these are ready to go into the oven. So I've preheated my oven to 110 degrees C. And I have switched my fan off, okay? So ovens generally these days are fan assisted, but you might have the option to turn it off. So you just have a top and bottom heat. And that's much better for meringue because the fan can be quite aggressive. This is why I'm not using this oven here, which is like a mini bakery oven, because the fan is so strong, which is great if you want to bake loads of sponges evenly. But if you've got something very delicate like a meringue, it's just a little bit too aggressive. So I'm opting for the fan off option at 110 degrees, and I'm going to put them in the oven for 70 minutes. Once that 70 minutes is up, I'm going to turn the oven off, but I'm going to let them cool down in there. That's so that they can cool down gradually, because it is, even though it's baked, it's still going to be very fragile, and sometimes when you take it out into the cold air, it will contract, and that's when you get lots of cracks in your meringue. So if you've got time, turn the oven off and let them cool inside. So here are the meringues. They have baked and cooled down, nice and crispy, and hopefully they're a little bit soft inside as well. And I've got loads of fruit here, some edible flowers as well. But the first thing we're going to do is just whip up some cream, because a pavlova is not a pavlova without some whipped cream. So I've just got some double cream in my mixer here, and I'm using my mixer and my whisk. Dane would be fuming with me right now because he says, you've always got to whip it by hand. But I'm not strong like Dane, I'm weak. So I'm gonna whip this up, and I'm gonna just, oh, actually, lies. I'm gonna put some sugar in first, because this is gonna be like chantilly cream, which sounds really fancy, but essentially it's just sweetened vanilla cream. So I've got a little bit of icing sugar going in here. We'll put the full list of ingredients in the description box below. And a little bit of vanilla as well. I'm just going to do this by eye, pop that in, and then we're just going to get this whipping until it's a soft peak. So if you're using a mixer or a hand mixer, I always tend to do it very slowly because it does whip up really, really quickly. And then if it's a little bit loose still, then you can just kind of finish it by hand. But this is actually looking pretty perfect, and I don't really want to whip this anymore because otherwise it will curdle and split. So I'm going to leave this like it is, and I'm going to start layering it up. So I've put my first piece of meringue onto a cake stand, but you can put it on a board, cake board, whatever you like, a plate even. That's what I meant to say. And I'm going to start by just dolloping a few blobs of cream. I'm not being like too neat with this, I'm just kind of blobbing it around, and now I'm going to add in some puree. So I've got some mango puree here, which sounds like exciting, but it's not. I just basically whizzed up some mango, some lovely ripe mango, until it was really, really smooth. And I'm just going to add in a little bit of lime juice because I think mango and lime is the perfect combo. And sometimes mango is very sweet and it needs a little bit of acid to kind of cut through it. So I'm just going to mix that through. And because it's mango, it's really, really thick, but you could use raspberry goo or like a curd, lemon curd maybe, and whatever you like. And I'm just going to blob this over the cream. And then on top of that, I'm just going to put some fruit, and I've got all sorts of fruits going on here. Some of my favorite things, so you can use whatever you like. So I love nectarines. They're beautiful, they're very summery, and they're really ripe at the moment. So I'm going to pop on some lovely big chunks of nectarine. I've also got some passion fruit, which I'll scoop out and put on because it just looks so beautiful. I've also got some strawberries and some slithers of mango as well. So I think that's already looking really beautiful, and to be honest, you could just leave it like this or make 3 separate ones, but I'm going to build this up, so I'm going to keep doing the same thing. I'm going to use this cake scrapery thing just to help me pick up my second layer because they are quite fragile, and slide it on top. And then I'm going to go again, so I'm going to go with the cream, the mango puree and the fruit, and I'm just going to keep building it to the very top. I think it's already looking pretty spectacular, but I'm just going to finish it off. I've got some whole strawberries, which are quite little, and I do like to kind of decorate with just a few whole ones because I love the little bit of greenery you get with it. But I've also got these gorgeous edible flowers, and then I'm just going to put all over it like these stunning cornflowers, such a beautiful bluey purple colour. I'm just going to put these around the cake just to finish it off. There we have it. Absolutely spectacular, but so simple, and it makes a great kind of pudding, dessert, or even like an alternate kind of birthday cake if it's super summery and you're just thinking like cake is quite scary to make in the summer because everything wants to melt. Go for something like this. Absolutely stunning. It's going to be so fresh and delicious. So I am going to try and cut it. So I'm going to just use a knife and a cake slice, maybe a big spoon, because we're going to cut through those delicious crunchy layers of meringue. We've got all that lovely cream, the puree, all that fruit. It's going to be a little bit messy, but just roll with it. That went way better than I thought. Like, it's actually cut like a cake. Like, look in there. How cool is that? And also check out the meringue. So it's gorgeous and crispy on the outside, ready? Lovely. But then the inside is really mallowy and soft. This is the perfect pavlova, and I'm going to have to eat some because it is possibly my all-time favorite dessert. It's kind of like eating mess. It's just meringue, cream and fruit. Here goes. Oh my goodness. Give me a bowl of it. Give me that whole thing. There's not many things that I could eat the entirety of, but I'd give it a go. You know, a challenge. That is so delicious. And you can mix this up. You can change the flavor of it so easily by using different fruits, different coulis, different goos. You could even make a flavored meringue. You could do it chocolatey with cocoa powder, or you could put freeze-dried fruit in it. So many things you could do, but I just think it's absolutely stunning and people are going to be so impressed. But actually, between you and me, pretty simple. So please have a go. Let us know how you get on. Tag us, of course, in your photos on Instagram if you want to share them with us. We love seeing your bakes. So use tags, hashtag CupcakeJemma, hashtag crumbs and doilies. And obviously this summer, if you're on school halls, then come down to C&D Soho, come and say hi to us and the gang. Grab yourself a cookie, maybe something cold to drink, because hopefully the summer's gonna last. And we'll be back very, very soon with another recipe for you guys. In the meantime, just, yeah, have fun baking, have fun eating. And I'm lost for words because this is in front of me. I know Sam's gonna want some as well. I'm just gonna eat it. Oh, just wanna say thank you, obviously, to Sam, Nikki, and Neil for all their filming, editing, photography. Don't know if that's the right way around, but anyway, thanks guys. We'll see you soon.